All yours.
Okay, great. So today we are using the Hide and Seek Paint Pour Rock Kit by Creativity for Kids. And I'll get a close up of that. So I don't know if everybody has heard about paint pouring, but it's a really easy and exciting process just by using special paint. And we're going to be covering rocks with the paint pour paint. So for the next half hour or so, I'll be taking you through the steps of paint pouring on rocks. So let's see what's in the box.
Friends, we are so happy that you are on with us. Just a few things to remember. The chat function will not be working, but if you have a question, you can use the Q&A button. And also, please check with a parent just to make sure that you have a safe space if you're going to be doing the painting along with us. Make sure that maybe you're wearing an apron or you have some old newspaper down, just so that we don't make a huge mess.
Right, just like Michelle said. So what we have in the box, we have a bunch of cute little paper cups, which we'll be using for mixing paint as well as pouring our paint. We have our cute little bottles of paint pour paint. We have our baggie that has our instructions in it. And you can see this is hide and seek paint pour rocks. So after you're done painting them and they dry, then you can hide them for other people to find. We have our popsicle sticks, which we'll be using to stir the paint and to smear the paint around if we need to. We have our sponge, and this will be used for applying our decals like this.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Holographic, so it's very shiny. This here is our table covering, which is very important for protecting your surface that you're working on. And like Michelle said, if you do not have the kit, it is important to put down newsprint or something to protect your surface that you're working on. We have our gloves, which are very helpful so your fingers don't get all painty. And then we have our apron. Actually, I think this is for your surface and this is your apron. So if you're not wearing old clothes, but you don't mind getting paint on, you can go ahead and put on your apron. So let's get all of this out of the way and prepare our spot. Oh, the one thing I forgot, our rocks.
Most important thing. I hear them.
There we go.
There we go.
There we are. So you can see you get a plethora of different shaped rocks, all very nice size for paint pouring. So like I was doing, we're going to prepare our surface. Oh, you know, I forgot to show these too. These are the decals that you can put on. You can see they're shiny and rainbowy. And I'll show you how to put these on after your paint is dry on your rocks. And then these are our stickers that you put on the rock after you're all done. You can put it on the back of the rock. So when you do hide your rocks, people can read the back of it and it tells them where to go to share a picture of the rock, or if they want to see more painted rocks, you can go to this site and you can see more of the rocks. So we'll get started here.
So for the friends that are just joining us now, if you can use the Q&A button if you have any questions. The chat is not enabled, so we won't be able to use that. And I see some of you have your hands raised. So if you do have a question, please just send it in the Q&A chat box. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to be working over a tray that has a bit of a lip. And this is helpful so paint does not go running all over your table. So I'm going to put our plastic over the tray, and the plastic will catch the paint and the tray will keep it from running all over the place. So if you don't have a tray like this, you could also use a paper plate because the plate has a little bit of a lip that comes up. You could also use the top of a shoebox because the shoebox has a bit of a lip that will keep the paint inside. So things like that would be helpful. So if you have something like that around, you might want to go grab that now. Also, if you want to prepare some water, so we have some water that will be used for rinsing off a paintbrush if you need to use a paintbrush, or to release your decals when it's time to add the decals to your rocks. And of course, we have a bunch of paper towels for any kind of little spills or wiping off your fingers. And then you also need to have a place to put your rocks that are wet, to set them aside so they can dry. So what I'm going to be using is actually the piece of cardboard that comes in the kit. I have that, and I'm going to be putting a piece of foil over top. So when the wet rock with the paint is placed on it, when it dries, you'll be able to peel it off. If you were to put it directly on the cardboard or on paper, it might get stuck. Some paper might get stuck on the bottom of your rock. And if that happens, that's okay too. You can always just cut the paper off of it. So, all right.
That's a really smart idea. Thank you, Meredith.
Oh yeah, happy to help. So we can look at our instructions here. And one of the helpful tips is about mixing paint. So you can see that the paint colors that you're given are beautifully bright, vibrant colors. And you can make even more colors by mixing them together. So if you wanted to make a purple, you can use the magenta and the blue, and that would be purple. If you wanted to make orange, you would use the yellow. And what do you think, Michelle? To make orange, what would you mix with the yellow?
Oh, I would say the magenta.
You are correct.
Okay, good. I was looking for red, but there's no red, right, friends? So we have to be a little flexible there.
That's right. So in your instructions, you can see a couple more instructions for mixing paint and what the different colors will look like. But you can also just try mixing paint on your own and see what happens. It's fun to explore. So we've got our paints, we've got our rocks, we've got our plastic down, and we have our little tray as our work area. So it says for the best results to put a couple rocks together so you're not wasting any of your paint. So if you group your rocks together like this, you're going to be able to pour the paint over a couple of them at one time. So that way paint won't be hitting the the surface that you're working on, it'll be going on to the different rocks, which is great. So then you can get more use out of the paint that you're given. And it also states that we should add a couple different colors of the paint into the cup before you pour the paint. Now I need to mention this paint is not regular paint. This paint is very special paint. It's like an acrylic paint, but it has a special formula in it that helps it pour very nice and smoothly. And when it mixes with other special paints in your kit, you'll get effects like this. So you can see it looks all marbly.
Cool.
And sometimes it will even create things like this that we call cells. So the paint kind of separates from other colors sometimes, and it's a very magical thing to watch. So when we're ready, I'm going to let you know to watch so you can see how the paint reacts to each other. The different colors react to each other. So I'm going to start by adding some white into our cup. And a little bit goes a long way. So I'm not going to put that much in there. I'm going to put a total of about a half cup using all the different colors that I want. So I'm not going to fill up the cup all the way. I'm only going to fill it up halfway, but I'm going to use a couple different colors to do that. Also, I'll note, if you don't have this kit at home, you can always go to Michael's and they have this special paint pouring paint available for you to purchase. And if you would rather not use rocks, you can actually use little pieces of cardboard or cards or anything else that you'd like to decorate with really fun designs. So here we go. I'm going to add some paint. And how are we doing out there? Am I going too fast, or are you guys able to follow?
You're doing great. I
Okay.
think we're all on the edge of our seats waiting to see this come to life. I see you have the white in there now. And then what color are you going to use next?
So you can kind of, I think I'll go with the magenta next. And I'm going to add a couple squirts of that.
Now, do you put it anywhere you want, or should it go in the middle, just like you have it, the magenta?
You can put it anywhere you want because the paint's gonna move as I pour it anyway. So it's gonna kind of do whatever it wants. I can't really control it. So you can just put it into the cup however you want. And then I'm gonna use the yellow. Probably a little more. I think I put more yellow than I did with the magenta.
How much yellow? Are you just doing a couple droplets? Can you hold it up maybe?
Yep. So
wow. Ooh.
I'm gonna start moving it around already, and you can kind of see it starting to mix. So, and you'll notice when you do this a couple times that sometimes some of the colors, they are kind of like they want to hog the show, so they'll come out more than some of the other colors. For example, on this rock you can see the magenta came out a lot more than the yellow. So you might want to keep that in mind when you're adding your colors and how much of each color that you add. So for the next color, I am going to go ahead and add this color to like the teal blue. And I'm going to just put maybe 2 drops instead of as much as I did with the yellow. So just maybe 1 too. So you can see, and when I added that, you can kind of see the cells are starting to appear. So you can see that this paint really is quite magical already. So I'm gonna,
So Meredith, we do have a question. Somebody missed the beginning. Are you mixing the paint with any medium?
I'm not. This is special paint that has a formula in it that allows it to pour very easy. So it's not regular acrylic paint and it's not tempera paint. It's like an acrylic with a special formula in it. It's added to the acrylic that will help the paint be nice and loose. So then it's able to pour over your rocks or your cards or whatever you're paint pouring on. So if you don't have this paint at home, you can go to Michael's and they have paint pouring. It's special paint pouring paint. You can ask them and they'll show you right where to get it. And I think they have a whole bunch of different colors that you can choose from. So right in our kit, we're giving you 3 colors as well as white. So.
And Meredith, do you always need to use the white to begin with? Or can you start with other colors?
Oh, you can start with any color you want. I like to start with the white just because I think it makes the other colors pop a little bit more. But you can see that some of these might not even have any white in them at all. But again, it's all whatever you want to experiment with, just like with any art form. Everything that you do, you can explore and experiment with and see how what your results are. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of our popsicle sticks and just swirl it around a little bit, but not much. I don't really want to mix it. I just want to swirl it a little bit. And I'll put that right here. All right, are you guys ready?
I'm ready. Is
Okay.
everybody else ready?
I'm going to go ahead and pour it. 1, 2, 3. Ooh.
Wow.
Wow, this is working so well. I love seeing all the different colors. And you can kind of see it moving around. I'm going to pick it up.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And you can move the paint around by moving your rock around.
You might want to use more paint too.
Yeah. And if you don't cover the rock as much as you'd like to cover the rock, you can always add more paint, or you can use your popsicle stick and kind of move it around to help cover the rock completely. And I don't know if you can see, but as I'm using the popsicle stick, more colors are coming out underneath. It might be a little hard for you to see. And I think I will add a little bit more paint. So here's my cup that I used before. And oh, I love these colors. I can see a teal. It's almost like a sunset in here. It goes from blue to yellow to teal to pink and orange. So I'm going to add some more white.
Now, Meredith, when you add more colors, do you have to do it in the same way that you originally put the colors in?
No, not at all. That's a great question. You can add more of any color in any way that you'd like. So you can put more pink or magenta. You can just add more yellow, but I'm going to add more white and more yellow to mine. And then I'm going to use the popsicle stick and smear it around a little bit. So you can see I don't have that much more paint in there, but there's enough, I think, to add to my rocks to cover them a little bit more.
And friends, this class is being recorded. So if you want to watch it over again, you can go to michaels.com and the video should be up tomorrow. So you can always play it and stop and follow along with Meredith.
Ooh, that looks really
Wow.
pretty there. Yeah. So it's really fun to see the paint moving around and all the different designs that it's making as the paint starts to pour over the rocks. And if you don't have a little popsicle stick, you can always use a paintbrush as well, and you can kind of move the paint around that way. And since there is paint left in my cup, I can just apply the paint that way as well. So there's a couple different techniques that you can try. If your rock isn't completely covered, you can use a paintbrush and kind of paint it on. Or you could use your popsicle stick and kind of drag it over the rock. But I think this is absolutely gorgeous. These colors that are starting to appear. And while you let the paint sit on your rocks and it continues to move, the design will change over time. So if you were to do a little paint pouring, walk away and possibly get a snack or get some water or something to drink, and then you come back to your rock, it might look different than when you left it. And that's because the core paint continually moves and covers your rock kind of however it wants to. So these rocks are really nice and covered now. And they are really, really rainbowy and colorful.
Hey, Meredith, we had a friend ask us a question, which I think maybe some other friends have the same question. Should we add any water to this?
Oh, no, you don't want to add any water to the paint. Sometimes when you add water to this paint, when it dries, it might crack a little bit. So you don't want to add water. It's already got that special formula in it that will help it pour out. So no water.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and put these three aside to dry and ask our friends out there, what color combination should I use next? I'm wondering if anybody out there has a special request for using two colors. Which two colors out of my paint palette should I use next?
Let's see. Somebody requested purple, pink, and blue.
Okay.
Let's see. We had somebody ask, which rock is your favorite so far? It's probably hard to decide, huh?
So far, I love this one because it has so much of this bluish green in there, and it reminds me of the ocean. So that's my favorite one so far.
We had another friend respond with aqua, magenta, and white.
Ooh.
And we had another friend ask, does it have to be dark colors or can it be both light and dark?
Oh, it can be light and dark. And that's a really good question. So in our instructions, we bring that up here by the color mixing. If you were to add white to any of these colors, it will lighten up the color, and that is called a tint. So if you were to add white, and maybe I'll just go ahead and show you here. So when you're mixing colors, you want to add the darker color to the lighter color. So right now, white is the lightest color. So I'm adding a little bit of white, and this is just to show you how to do a tint. So white plus the teal. You don't have to put much in there. And then if you mix it around, you can see that it creates a lighter version of that dark teal. So now it's kind of like a medium teal.
That's beautiful.
It's very pretty. Reminds me of the sea. So also, just to mention, when you're done paint pouring on your rock, you can actually flip it over and wipe off any of the paint from the bottom, and that will also help it from sticking onto your drying surface. So if you wipe off the back of the rock before you place it on your area where you want your rocks to dry, that will also prevent it or help prevent it from sticking to your surface.
And Meredith, how long does it take to dry?
You should let these sit overnight, and then you can check them the next day, and you'll know that it's dry if it's not tacky at all. So if you were to put your finger on it and it felt a little bit sticky, then it's not dry yet. But if it's nice and hard, like this one is, it's nice and dry. So it will probably vary, but we suggest at least overnight.
Thank you. And the stickers should not be applied until it's dry, correct?
Correct. And speaking of stickers, let me show you how these work. So I have a rock that's already dry. We had done this before our show today. And you can kind of see it's purpley and magenta with white and teal. And I really want to put one of these really cool holographic stickers on, but they're not really stickers. It's like a transfer. So what you have to do is you cut out your shape, whichever design you want. And I'm going to do this swirly one here. Kind of like a galaxy. And what you do is you peel off the protective coating, which is helping this from getting any scratches. I'm going to throw that away. And just like temporary tattoos, if you've ever played with one of those, you put the design face down onto the surface that you want it to transfer to. So you put it down like that, and then you grab your little sponge and you get a little water, and then you wet the paper, the backer paper, kind of holding it in place. Make sure it gets nice and wet. And it's a little wonky because none of the rocks are really the same shape or size. So you kind of have to push down in a lot of different areas to make sure that the transfer is actually transferring onto the rock. So you push down, kind of smear it on, holding it in one place. And I think, there you go. It kind of just came off on its own. So the backer paper just came off on its own. And now you can see this awesome holographic swirly design is now on the rock.
Wow.
And you just let that dry, and it doesn't take too long to dry. It takes just a couple minutes to dry. And now it's on your rock for good. Actually, now that I put that on, I'm gonna turn the rock over and put one of our stickers on it, which tells people where to see more rocks and to share this rock. There you go. So now it's all ready for me to go and hide it out in the park.
So fun. I can't wait to see where that travels to. Can you show us some more paint pouring?
Oh yeah.
Yay.
So I think someone had requested me to use the teal and the magenta. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get these out of the way. And that one there.
Meredith, before you get started, can you show us the hide and seek rock painting box again for all of our friends who want to take a look at what this kit is called?
Sure. So this is
There we
our
go.
hide and seek paint pour rocks. And you can see all of the different samples that we've done. And then you can also see this process that we just did where we painted the rock with the special paint pour paint. We decorated it with our transfer. And next, you can put it outside and hide it and then post your rock online. And you
Thank you.
see you get 10 rocks, you get 10 transfers. You have enough to make plenty of rocks. Okay, so this is a little bit messy. I'm actually gonna put a paper towel over it. Just so I'm not, ooh, look how fun that looks.
Maybe another paper towel.
That's beautiful. So I'm gonna take another rock. And this time, instead of doing 3 at once, I'm just gonna put a small amount of paint in the paint cup and just do 1 because I wanna try out different color combinations for my remaining rocks. So to do that, I'm gonna use what our friends suggested, which was the teal. Oh, and I'm gonna put the magenta in first because I think I like the magenta a little bit more than the teal. So I'm gonna put magenta in first. And I'm covering up the base of the cup. So I put enough paint in to cover up the entire base of the cup, but not too much more. And then I'm gonna add a couple drops of the teal. 1, 2, 3. So you can see how that looks. And I'm just gonna mix it just a little bit, just to introduce the teal into the magenta, just a little bit more, but I'm not gonna mix it completely. All right.
Okay, friends, time to stop what you're doing and look up at Meredith. Here she goes.
Here we go. And I'll see. When you paint or when you pour it, you can kind of move your cup around and you can try to cover the rock as much as you can just by pouring it over the rock. Ooh, that's what it looks like in the cup. And this is what it looks like on the rock. Is that coming in clear enough?
It is.
Oh, good. Okay. So you can see some of the edges don't have paint on it. So I'm going to use my little stick and kind of move the paint over. And as I'm moving the paint, you can see that bright magenta is coming through from the bottom up. It's really fun to play with this paint, especially when you layer it and you have no idea how it's going to turn out. It's always like a magical surprise as to what it's going to look like. So once you kind of get the hang of it and you start playing around with your paintbrush or moving the paint around with your popsicle stick, you can kind of create your own little designs. Again, though, it might move by the time that the paint is all dry. Since it is a very liquidy paint, it will continue to move until it's dry. So this is what this one looks like so far.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Hey, since this week happens to be Halloween, what would you suggest in that theme?
Ooh, I like the idea of doing a paint pour Halloween jack-o'-lantern inspired rock.
So fun. And for our friends, we actually did some Halloween painted rocks the other day. So you can always find that video on michaels.com and you can see how we use the hide and seek glow in the dark rocks to make pumpkins and a ghost and a bat. So don't forget, you can always rewatch these videos.
That's right, Michelle. Oh, it was so much fun to do painted Halloween rocks because Halloween is one of my favorite times of the year. So I just went ahead and folded up my paper again so I can reuse this area. I have my rock that I think will look really good as a jack-o'-lantern. And I'm gonna go ahead and make some orange paint. To do that, we're gonna put a little bit of white because it'll be a lighter orange. And I put just enough white to, it doesn't even cover the entire bottom of the cup. So not too much white, maybe like 4 squirts of white. And then the next lightest color is the yellow. So I'm going to put probably about the same amount of yellow. So about 4 squirts of yellow. So you can see the yellow and the white in here. And then I'm going to put only 1 squirt of magenta. 1 little drop. And then I'm going to mix this up and see if we have our orange.
Oh, I see it coming through.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a nice light orange. But it will be more fun and look more like a paint pouring rock if I add some more straight colors like the yellow and the magenta and the white to mix in with the orange. So I'm going to go ahead and add another drop of the yellow and another drop of the white and another drop of the red or of the magenta. And I'm barely going to mix that around. I'm just gonna kind of move it into the orange. You can see that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pour it over our rock. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. There we are. So now we have, I'll move my cup so you can see what I've got so far. You've got mostly orange with some little itty bitty bits of white, some little itty bitty bits of yellow, and some itty bitty bits of magenta. So now, when I move it around, you can see the colors starting to work together.
I love the marbled look. You know, it's sometimes I get worried when I mix colors together that everything's going to end up brown, but these colors are so beautiful together, the way that they just flow with one another.
Yeah, they're really pretty. And I think what I'm gonna do is just set this one aside. So this is how it looks right now. You can see the little swirls of yellow and magenta. I'm gonna set it aside, wipe the bottom off of it, set it aside and let it dry. And then I'm gonna paint a jack-o'-lantern face on it with the teal color. So then it will be a true Halloween paint pour rock.
Very cool. Thank you. Oh, I can't wait.
I'm going to show you another technique that does not include using the cups. And this is good to do with a smaller rock, so you don't have to use that much paint. But what I'm going to do is pour the paint directly onto the rock, one color at a time. Just something to expect. Again, you don't want to use up all of your paint doing this, and it's easy to do that. So using a small rock and just a little bit of paint at a time, you can kind of see what effect that makes. So I'm going to start with the yellow this time. And I'm just going to pour, or I'm going to squeeze about 4 drops of yellow onto it. So there's our yellow. And then I'm going to put some white onto it.
Are you going to put it on the yellow or directly on the rock?
I'm going to put it on the yellow and maybe some on the rock too. Ooh, I put a lot of white on it. So, so you can kind of see it's starting to move already. And like I said before, you can kind of move your rock around, and that helps the paint cover your rock, but also helps designs start to come through. Now I'm going to put the magenta on it. And I'm just dropping it in different places and just kind of seeing what happens. So this is very experimental, and it looks really cool right now. You can kind of see how the paint is much thicker when you do it this way. So you have a lot more paint to work with. and you can actually move it around with your stick very easily. And you can create different designs this way as well. So
What if you don't have a popsicle stick? What are some other things you can use to swirl?
you can use the back, like the handle of a paintbrush, or you can use maybe even like a toothpick or a stick. Like you could find a stick outside and use that if you clean it off a little bit. So what I'm doing now is using the back of our paintbrush, and I'm just kind of swirling the paint around with the back of the paintbrush because it's a little bit of a thinner tip. And it's really making these fun little designs that kind of look like waves. So
Wow, that's
really cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it's very, like I said, it's very magical paint. And even the paint left over on my surface here, you can see it's starting to create those cute little cells where the paint kind of separates from itself. And you can kind of swirl that around too. Actually, that's a technique I have not tried. By using the paint on your surface that you've already poured, I wonder if you could just dip a rock into it and see if that picks up the paint.
Ooh, let's try
Okay, let's try it.
it.
We'll see if it works. So here's our rock. Here's our paint. I'm gonna just dip it in and see what happens. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So this part worked out really well, but this part is a little bit smeary. So I think what I'll do, I'm gonna fold this part down. I think I'll just finish by pouring some paint over this. And if you mess up or you don't like the result of one of your pours, you can always let it dry and then pour over it again with new colors. So
That's a great idea.
yeah. So really you're not messing up, you're just practicing for the next time. So I'm going to reuse one of my cups because it still has some paint in it. Ooh, actually, this is the paint that we mixed to create that teal tint. So I'm going to use this again and add some more paint to it. So I'm going to put the yellow in our teal tint. Oh, this is already gorgeous. It's very beachy. So I put in about 4 squirts of the yellow. And I think I'm not going to use the magenta this time. It's just going to be this beautiful tint of teal, yellow, some white. And I just put in probably around 3 drops of yellow or of white. And you can see how that's looking already. And then I'm going to put the teal over top of that. And I only put in like a couple drops of that. So this kind of is looking very much like maybe a planet or I don't know, something you'd find in nature. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that. Oh, you know, I'm going to mix it a little bit. Gonna pour that. Are you ready? Here we go. We're gonna pour.
I'm ready.
Okay. Ooh, how pretty.
Wow, can you hold that up for us?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's going right over top of the magenta that we kind of tried to stamp. And I love it, but I'm very curious to see what happens when I start moving the paint around with my popsicle stick. Will that magenta come out? Or will it stay underneath? I think it also depends on how much pressure you put onto your paint with your popsicle stick. If I push hard, magenta might come out a little bit more. There's the magenta. So I'm pushing a little harder and you can kind of see the paint coming up from underneath. Oh, this one's really pretty. I like it a lot. And as the paint, the paint is starting to run down the side of the rock, so you're getting a different design on the side of the rock too.
We have a question from one of our friends. She would like to know if she can use glue.
It can be a creative experiment.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun experiment to try. I have not tried glue, so if you do end up trying glue, I imagine you'd add glue to the acrylic paint and seeing if that will pour. If you do try it out, you'll have to let us know how it works, because I've actually never tried that, but I think that's a fun idea to explore. So I'm gonna finish this guy up by scooping out, ooh, you can see in here how fun that looks. I think it's really fun to see what the colors do inside of the cups as we leave them and paint on our rocks. So I'm going to cover up the other sides of the rock just so it's completely covered. And it will be very fun for someone to find. So where are our favorite places to hide rocks? Have you ever hidden a rock, Michelle?
I have, and I love hiding them in our local park and alongside the trails there. What about you?
I would say the same. I like going on walks in the park, and since mostly it's all green or brown around us, the painted rocks really pop out because they're so bright and colorful. Okay, I think this guy is all done. So I'm going to put him to the side to dry.
And we should probably start wrapping up
Gloves
really
on.
soon.
Okay. I don't
Is
have
there
my,
any?
but I do recommend wearing gloves so you don't get your fingers as messy as I have mine. Although it's fun. So let's go back. Since we are wrapping up, I think I'll go back to my very fun little pumpkin, our orange one that we made. And even though he is not dry yet, I'm going to try and put a little jack-o'-lantern face on him. And since we do have some leftover magenta and teal in this cup, I'm just going to reuse that. And I'm just going to place the paint on it like this. So one eye. And then another eye. I'm using triangles as eyes. And then we need our little nose. I'm just making out a little dot. And then our mouth. And again, although this looks like a jack-o'-lantern face right now, I won't be surprised if it moves a little bit, since this paint likes to move a lot. And here's our little jack-o'-lantern smile.
Wow, that looks great. Happy and spooky all at the same time.
Happy and spooky is fun. Oh, and maybe I'll put a little bit of teal up at the top to kind of look like his little, what is that called? His stem. There we go. And I'll hold that up so you can see.
Ooh.
Yep. Already, the paint is starting to move a little bit.
Once he dries, you'll have to hide him around the office or maybe around Ohio. We'll see where somebody can find him. He's so adorable.
Right. All right. Should we do one more? I have 2 more rocks. Or are we running out of time?
No, let's do one more.
Okay, we'll do one more. And since I only have 2 more rocks, I'm going to be very generous with the paint that I put on this one and cover it completely. So I'm going to go directly on the rock and I'm going to put a bunch of the pink. Kind of move it around. Ooh, that's so cool. And then I'm going to put a bunch of the yellow right on top and move it around. Whoa. And then I'm going to put some of the green around the outside. Oh, that looks so cool. You can see it's already starting to move itself around. And then finally,
Wow.
yeah, that teal really likes to move in that yellow. Finally, some white. Just some drops of it around. And you can see how fun that looks. It's like an abstract painting.
Yeah,
But
almost like a tie-dye swirl.
Right. But it's ever changing, like I said, because this paint just loves to move around so much. So I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna help it move a little bit. Ooh, I like those little speckles of white there. And sometimes you kind of grab some of the color with your popsicle stick and you move it to another part of the rock and it just looks like it belongs there. It's very fun. So here.
Meredith, can you take a picture later today when they're all dry and we can maybe post it to our Facebook group so that everyone can see what it looks like when it's finished?
Oh, sure. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and add some more decals to our rocks once they are all dry. All right, so that was paint pouring on rocks and it's really fun. I highly encourage you to either get the Creativity for Kids paint pouring rock kit or go to Michael's and you can get your own paint pouring paint and you can pour on many different surfaces that you want. And if you do our rocks, be sure to post your pictures on our Instagram or on our Facebook page, of course, with your parents' permission. And we're happy to see what you can create. And we look forward to people hiding the rocks and finding the rocks and sharing with us. So thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure to share our rock painting kit with you.
Thank you, friends. Don't forget this video will be live on michaels.com/classes tomorrow.
All right, bye. See you next time.
Bye.